Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy, and these are your weekly messages from the angels. These are messages for how to make the most of the weekly energy that is impacting the collective. So the weekly energy that is impacting each and every one of us. But I find that especially those of you who are really sensitive to energy are connecting with these readings, which is honestly most of you. So these are the messages for how to make the most out of the week and what to expect out of the week. We're going to dive in, and we have been talking about this hero's journey that we're on. And for those of you who are wanting to get caught up on the energy, make sure you go back and watch some of the past several energy readings. That'll help you to get updated with where we're at. But we have very much been on this journey where we're making decisions for really a new life and a new chapter and where we want to go and what we want to be doing. And we've been in this process, and now we find ourselves on this journey. We find ourselves moving forward and making decisions and watching the energy move forward. I especially want to acknowledge the fact that we now have shifted into the astrological new year. So happy new year. We have that happened yesterday on the spring equinox. And we also have shifted into Aries energy. I always find that Aries energy feels really drastically different from that dreamy Pisces intuitive energy. So we really have been in this process of dreaming and visualizing, and now this Aries energy steps in to light a fire under our ass, really, to help us to take action, to help us to move forward, and to start to create more from these dreams. So if you haven't been feeling this energy moving forward, you might find that this energy in particular is really supporting that. But we've been on this hero's journey, and when we think about a hero's journey, it's not just a journey. It is a journey that is filled with choices and decisions and having to challenge ourselves and having to face our fears and having to deal with the situations that are coming up. And I really want to acknowledge that one of the things that I feel very, very strongly right here in this energy is I want you to notice what is coming up as a challenge on this journey that you're on, with these decisions that you've made, with these changes that you've made, because we next month in April are going to be going through another eclipse portal. And so around that eclipse that we have coming up in April, we are going to be working on some stuff. And that is going to be potentially a more challenging energy, or definitely an energy where we're doing some work, right? And so what I feel like right now here this week in this energy is that it is helping to highlight for us, it's giving us a little bit of that foreshadowing as to what to expect in terms of what we will be working on around those eclipses. So notice what's showing up for you. And can we, instead of letting it bring us down or letting it break us down, can we simply choose to notice it? Number one, so that we can feel more prepared for the work that we are about to do, because this is showing us the way. It is helping to give us some information as to what we'll be working on, but it's also providing us with things that we need. So when I connected with the energy, it was the angels were talking about how this is going to grow us or show us, essentially, right? So in what ways are the things that are showing up for you right now helping you to grow, or helping to show you something that you need to understand, helping to show you changes that are still needing to be made, helping to understand where there is still room to grow? So what is this teaching me? What is this showing me is a really fantastic question. And I think sometimes if we can just take that step back and ask that question, it helps us to disconnect a bit from the emotion of all of that, right? And it helps us just kind of take a look at that and recognize the bigger picture and recognize the spiritual path and in the spiritual picture, and maybe why some of these things are showing up for us, rather than that simply being, oh my gosh, like what, my life sucks, or, you know, this always happens to me, or those kinds of things. Can we again recognize the purpose in it, right? Because I think that it's so important that we're noticing and acknowledging the purpose in the things that are happening. The other part of that is, once we become aware of that, the next question becomes, how can I show up in a different energy, right? How can I, we've talked about this a few weeks ago, really become the manifestation of the things that I'm wanting to create, right? So I shared that message with you guys a few weeks ago. And so I really was thinking about that just for myself, and I was really wanting to create a pretty significant level up for myself in some ways. And it's really funny because I got a message from someone today that was just acknowledging, you know, hey, I see you over there leveling up, right? And so I started to kind of behave as though I had leveled up, and I'm now creating that level up for myself through that process. So becoming the manifestation, acting as if, until we create the actual manifestation. So another way to look at that is how would my more limited self behave, right? And then how would the best version of myself behave? And can we start to choose our actions from that place of the best version of ourselves? Can we start to let those behaviors be how we present ourselves most of the time, right? So again, if you're wanting to create success, what does the most successful version of myself look like? How does she think? How does she act? How does she behave? And I think that if we can really be leaning into this, we are going to be creating opportunities for ourselves left and right here in this very forward moving energy. I also think if we can deal with some of these challenges that are coming up for us now, that we can save ourselves a whole lot of trouble as we move into eclipse season, right? It's like, okay, you're getting a little glimpse at that, so you can start to address it. You can start to make the changes that you need to make so that it's not going to be as uncomfortable as we move into eclipse season in April. The other part of this is, and I talked about this last week as well, this idea that it doesn't have to be so hard. That is very much this energy. Like, we are doing a lot that is making life harder than it needs to be, or circumstances harder than it needs to be. And I feel like specifically that is happening in the form of the stories that we're telling ourselves, right? Where is the story that I am telling myself becoming problematic around a circumstance or just in general in my life? Where's the story that I'm telling myself about myself becoming problematic? If we are on a hero's journey, can we become the main character? Can we become the hero? And can that become our story? How do we become the hero of our own story versus the victim in our story? Because these are very different energies. And that starts with changing the story that we're telling ourselves. That starts with rewriting the story that we're telling ourselves and starting to behave like the hero, starting to behave like the success, or whatever it is that you are wanting to create. You know, so if you're working on relationships, for example, can you begin to behave as though you are someone great to be in a relationship with, right? That you are a person who sees themselves as a high value individual, because I promise you, you change that energy, people will start to respond differently to you. So all of these little shifts that are really helping to support us on this journey and help us to deal with the things that are coming up for us all along the way. The other part of that is, I do feel like there's still this energy where, and this is part of that, it doesn't have to be so hard energy, where we're getting lost a little bit in where we haven't made the progress that we want to make yet, right? But keeping it real, that's always going to be true, right? And so I'm just even thinking back to like some of the things that I've been frustrated that haven't happened for me yet. And these are things that even 3 years ago, I don't think that I would have even dreamed would be possible for myself. And now I'm like frustrated that it hasn't quite happened the way that I want it to yet, right? And so then it made me think about just the way that even going back 5 years ago, the way that I have so much of what I wanted 5 years ago, and then some, right? God has really worked in so many beautiful blessings on top of that, and has helped me to expand the vision. And we're always expanding the vision, at least hopefully. At least we don't want to just like say, okay, well, good enough, and I'm just gonna, chill for the rest of my life until I die, right? That's not the energy we want to create. We want to always be improving, always be developing. And so what happens with that energy sometimes is that we get frustrated when we don't have those things that we want. So can we instead hold gratitude for everything that has already happened for us? Because when we're in the energy of gratitude, that is going to help support us as we're moving forward as well. And that is going to help us to manifest these next things that we are wanting to manifest. But I think that we have this tendency as human beings, I do it myself too, where it's like, oh, okay, so that finally happened, and I'm only going to hold gratitude for it very quickly, and then I'm on to the next thing, but I'm very quickly forgetting to continue to hold that gratitude and that excitement for what God has already delivered into my life and all of the blessings that have already happened for me. So it's really beautiful if we can just kind of lean into this gratitude and let that be a big focus for us. I think that when we're in that energy, we are going to notice the rest of the things happening. Like I said, this energy is very much moving forward. We have no planets still in retrograde until mid-April. Take advantage of this energy. Wherever you are feeling called to take action, wherever you are feeling inspired to take action. Inspired action looks very different than fear-driven action. I do feel like I need to point that out, because I think that with all of these shifts in the energy and all of these upgrades and downloads that we've been receiving energetically, I think we can be feeling an energy that feels like anxiety. I don't think that most of this is anxiety. I think that most of this is actually an excitement for what's to come and just our bodies processing all of this energy. So I talked about that more in detail last week. Make sure you tune into that. So can we start to just recognize that as excitement and lean into that and lean into this understanding that so many amazing things are happening for us right now. And we're feeling that fire being lit under our asses. We're feeling that fire that is wanting to drive us into action before we move into another retrograde, before we move into eclipse season, where that is going to shift back into more of an internal focus, more of a reflection focus, more of a slowing down. So wherever it is that you're feeling called to take action, but do not let that be led by nervousness or anxiety. So for example, with that, like you're sitting there worrying about your finances, so you go and do something that your intuition knows isn't aligned, but you're doing it because you're desperate, right? I always say, like, we cannot manifest amazing things from thirsty energy. You don't want to shift into thirsty energy, but you do want to shift into being excited by an action. You'll know it's inspired action because you'll probably feel either really nervous about it because it's pushing you out of your comfort zone, or you'll feel excited, right? I find inspired action tends to be those things, or it'll just be this prompt that feels like, yep, that's what I need to do. It might be just this little prompt that you don't understand why you're doing it, but you just know that you are intuitively being led to do it. Do it anyway. Ask fewer questions around that if you intuitively feel led to do it. It'll save you a lot of time and energy, and it'll get things moving forward more quickly. Let's take a look at the tarot cards that we have here for this. So 5 of Earth. This is that energy that I was talking about, where we might find ourselves kind of dipping into, but this isn't working out for me, and this isn't working out for me. And this is like a very lack-based energy. Okay, and this is an energy that we do not want to stay in. Instead, the antidote for this energy is gratitude, is recognizing what has already happened for us and being really mindful about how we speak, how we behave, and acting as though amazing things are happening for us, because they are. right? And we just want to create that. So we just really want to be mindful about not dipping too much into fears around lack, fears around money, fears in general, and letting fears drive us too much, okay? Because if we can shift out of that, then we have this Queen of Earth energy, right? This is us kind of allowing things to flow into our experience, allowing money to flow to us, allowing opportunities to flow to us, allowing ourselves to have freedom of time or whatever it is that we're wanting to create. But the Queen of Earth or the Queen of Pentacles is very much this queen that just knows that she is a magnet for all of the things that she's wanting to create in her life, right? But also the Queen of Pentacles knows to take time to be grateful for everything that she already has, right? She is very happy with that. I also do feel like maybe there's this energy, especially here in the new year, of taking a look around our homes or our circle of people that we have around us or things like that, and deciding what we love, what works, what continues to work for us, and what doesn't continue to work for us. Because definitely this energy is calling us to make some changes, especially if we're being shown that we need to make some changes in the challenges that are coming up. It's going to be important for us to take a look at that. And I think that this is very much going to be a value assessment. How do I want to be spending my time? Who do I want to be investing myself in? How do I want to be investing my time? And if things don't align with that, we definitely are going to need to make some changes with that. 2 of Water or 2 of Cups. We've been working on manifestation. We have been working on creating, calling into our experience important people that will give us the things that we need. So for people who are looking for example, love, this can be the calling in of that soulmate, of that soul partner that is a really beautiful balance for us here at this time in our lives. But we have to have made the changes. We have to have done the work on ourselves or be doing the work on ourselves in order to allow for this energy to come in, right? So this energy may come in this week. This energy may come in later, depending on where we're at on our journey. This also can be, if you're working on creating a business, you're calling in that divine partnership in business or some kind of contract or even like the funding that you're needing to make something happen. Or just like this to me is that energy of like that missing piece that we need in order to create success for ourselves. The next card that we have here is the Renewal card, right? This is the Judgment card. We're making really important decisions for ourselves, for our lives right now. We are maybe in this process of reviewing and evaluating things in our lives to make sure that what we have surrounding us, what we are focusing our time and our energy on are worth it. And I think that we're going to be making important decisions around that. I also feel like there are judgments, decisions being made in our favor here in this energy, right? This is an important energy where, something shifts, something happens, somebody makes a decision and it creates this domino effect that supports us on our best life path. And so it's also going to be really important that we're listening to our intuition, that we're letting our intuition guide our decisions, because our decisions are impacting the free will of other people as well. So you may have important decisions to make, and that is part of the hero's journey, is needing to make decisions, but needing to really honor at the end of the day that intuitive voice that is showing us we always know the answer. We always have the answers within us. And then we're making decisions. Right after that, we have the Death card. We have the Release card, right? The end of something, letting go of something. Maybe it's something that we've been carrying for a long time, but we just keep coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it, even though maybe like we haven't even been connected to that in a long time, but it just keeps coming into our mind. And now we're choosing to let that go. Now we're choosing to let that transform. This is also about spiritual transformation, or just a beautiful metamorphosis that's happening. I think with 2 major Arcana card showing up here this week. Major events happening, major clarity coming in, major opportunities coming in. And speaking of opportunities, we have the Ace of Fire. We have the Ace of Wands, right? This is my go for it card. This is new, exciting opportunities that are coming in. This is us choosing to go after the things that we're excited about and no longer holding ourselves back or letting ourselves be weighted down by what other people want from us. This is us truly listening to our soul and moving forward on this journey and letting ourselves continue to move forward. And if people come along with us, great. If people are supporting the vision, the ideas, the things that we're doing, fantastic. And if they aren't, that's okay too. They've got their own journey, but it's okay to release and let go as well. It's okay to release ourselves from the things that we felt stuck to, the things that just we know and maybe have known for quite some time that they no longer serve us, that they don't align for us. And this almost immediately is creating room for something exciting to come in. This can be some kind of career advancement. This can be some kind of new, exciting opportunity coming in. This can be just something that we're feeling really passionate about. This can be, especially with this Two of Cups showing up, some kind of new relationship coming in or the beginnings of a new relationship. It can be so many things, but it's definitely something exciting if we can let ourselves lean into all of this energy and letting ourselves be shown and to learn the lessons that we're meant to be learning. And if we can choose to show up in the energy of the best version of ourselves. Again, how does the best version of me behave? And can we start to replicate that from morning to night as much as we possibly can? I promise you that is going to be the most powerful manifestation tool that you can use right now. All right, guys. And speaking of that, it's the new moon. So, in this new moon, of course, we want to be focusing on manifestation. And that to me is the manifestation tool that is going to set us up for the most success. But of course, use whatever manifestation tools you feel called to use or you feel drawn to use as well. That's always a great thing to do here in the new moon. Thank you so much for tuning in. If these messages resonate with you, make sure you hit that like button. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. I always appreciate it. Feel free to share this video or however you feel called to exchange energy with me. Whenever you do these kinds of things, it's a really nice way to exchange energy and to help support the channel. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care, guys.